Okay, so the previous Sunday from this special day, we were at the lake and fished all day, and we ended up with 4 smallmouth. They all average over 4 pounds, and we were happy. I mean, we were learning the lake. We were struggling those first trips. First trip to the lake ever, we never got a bite. We put our heads down and we said, you know what, we're doing this. We're learning this lake. I don't care what it takes. Mm-hmm. We put some time in scanning. We fished it. We went from no bites to, I don't think we caught a fish on the second trip.
I don't think we did either. I mean, we literally hit all the obvious things that people hit.
Yeah.
And those fish are so different out there.
Yeah. And at that time, we were still learning smallmouth.
Yep.
I was a largemouth guy and for years. And it was different going to a lake fishing for a full day and not getting a fish. And you're like, God, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
But all of a sudden it goes from no fish, couple fish. And then the fall before this happened, Jack was with me, and on this spot, he sticks a 6-pound even smallmouth. Mm-hmm. And at the time, that was the biggest smallmouth I'd ever seen in person, I ever got to touch, take a picture with. I think that was the moment when it was like, you know what, this is worth it, and this is why, and you know, we're going to keep doing this. Well, then fast forward over the winter, and right after the ice went off, we made a trip, and that was the day we got those 4 fish. They averaged 4 pounds. We met in your basement with an idea. Mm-hmm. What was the name of that idea?
The Quest for 7-1.
Yep. So Quest 7-1. And what does that mean? The previous record was 7 pounds even. So our goal is to, of course, catch a fish bigger than that. Mm-hmm. So that's the start of Quest 7-1. And I remember we had the notebook down there, and we're talking, and what stands out is we're going to document everything. We're going to take pictures. We're going to measure. We're going to track these fish, see how long they are, how big they are, what we need to break the state record. And I remember talking, it might take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take 5 years. It might never happen.
Right.
So fast forward a week, and we get to that morning and flip the GoPro on. Just like we said, we're going to record everything.
That was so cool about this trip is we literally turned the GoPro on the dash of the pickup and ran it the whole trip there. So we heard
3:30 a.m.
The whole conversation. We literally had the whole day on video.
Start to finish.
Yeah. And we've been sitting on that footage for
almost 4 years. We don't talk about the record much. I haven't gone back and looked at that footage, and all of a sudden I started looking back at it, and it's crazy when you start opening up all those folders that say state record.
Right.
And I started listening to that audio, and you don't see anything. It's pitch black. It's 4 a.m, driving down the interstate. It's loud in the background on the GoPro. But I started picking up little pieces, and it's like,
I just hope we bite today. You get a few key bites. Start off with a jerk bait, or should I just go right to that A-rig? That's why I think springtime's the time to catch a world state record out here.
Goosebumps, you know. You're like, oh my God, we were like almost calling that record the whole way to the lake that day, not knowing what was going to happen, and it happened.
It's crazy to look back at it and remember, like, to hear the things we were saying. It's weird. It's almost like we knew it was, not to sound stupid, but it's almost like we knew it was going to happen.
Right. Like it just felt right.
Like
it was meant to be.
Saying, that'd be cool if we caught 20 pounds of smallmouth today. Yeah. Well, it'd be really cool if we got 25. Why don't we just catch 30?
Yeah,
we said 30. That.
You know, if we only get 20 pounds, I might be disappointed. It's got to go over 25. Is that bad? I'm shooting for 30. Is that getting greedy? Pretty much. Because if you catch one of those 693s like that guy caught, that balances out a 5 even. Right. To a 6. Yeah. Gotta catch 3 more 6s.
30.
You said that.
I mean, at the time, it was our biggest smallmouth ever.
Well,
it wasn't big.
Let's go back to that fall before with Jack. Jack caught that 6. We had already known that the state record came out of Horseshoe at 7 pounds. And I've seen a lot of pictures of big fish that came out of that lake. And then Jack sticks that 6, which was a unicorn, freak fish, you know?
Yeah.
And I've spent some time with Seth Fighter on Mille Lacs that fall too. And he got me a 6'3", my personal best, the fall before, the same fall that Jack caught that 6. And so we've touched some big fish already, but like they were very new to us, and even 6-pounders on Mille Lacs were big too.
Right. And bag wise, like best 5.
Yeah, best 5. I can't even, between the two of us at 24 pounds.
So what we're getting 25? At is when we threw out the 30 number, I mean...
Yeah, it was a joke. It was a joke.
It was a joke. I mean, it wasn't like you just expected to get 30. I mean, so we're in the truck, and Lyal throws out the 30 number, the crazy 30 number. And then he says...
Did you just get chills from your toes to your fingertips? Pretty much. Yeah, I did.
And it's like, we both did. I mean, it was nuts thinking about that. Yeah, so we knew that lake had potential. I mean, puts out a 6-pounder. Average fish was over 4 pounds. We weren't catching a lot, but when the average fish is that big, and they look like they do, they're short and big.
The way we were catching them too, jerk baits and such, it was basically what everybody else is doing out there. And nowadays we've discovered better bait. There are more baits that when they're not biting jerk baits, we're catching a ton of fish on hair jigs.
A lot more finesse type
drop shots. I mean, Ned rigs, all types of things. I mean, one thing that was kind of cool on that audio in the morning, we said, what do we do if we catch a 7-1? And the first thing I said was, we'll go to the Sportsman's Cove.
So what's the guy do when he sticks a 7-1 in the live well? Who do you call? What's the procedure? I think we'd have to go to that Sportsman's Cove. We'll have the whole thing on video if something like that happens.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we went to get the water for a tub, and then transported the fish to the grocery store to have it weighed. It's just pretty cool to talk about it before it actually happens. Little did we know it was going to happen about 4 or 5 hours later.
Right. One of my favorite things that stands out is we're getting close to the lake, and Lyal, he just looks and he's like,
we're out here for one bite.
We're here for one bite. And you say that, and it's like, how true is that? I mean, one bite changes everything. What was the fight, 30 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, that was the best 30 seconds I've experienced fishing.
I mean, you set the hook and the fish comes up like a balloon.
Yeah.
It can't go down. And just drag it and hard crank it right to the boat.
Yep.
And I know that you would have much rather like reverse time and boat flip.
Oh, I know, that would have been awesome.
And that big balloon just bounce around on the deck. But you were nice enough and let me be part of it and stick that net under there.
You're a good net man.
Every time I watch that video, I keep thinking, God, don't screw up that net.
Yep.
But every time, it gets it in the net.
You scoop it every time.
So when we pulled up across the lake, and you'll see us driving across the lake, we're coming in from this side. And the way the wind is blowing is out of the south-southeast. So it's blowing over this spot.
Yep.
Well, back 4 years ago, we didn't have spot lock with the Ultrex, so we depended on the talons to hold us. So we knew we were going to loop in down here and then aim the bow to the northwest and put the talons down. And we were holding like right down in this area right here. And all we were doing, those first couple of casts with the jerkbait, my first one is right here and it stuck weeds on the first cast. Next cast, I went a little bit further out and we knew it was on. I mean, that first good cast caught a fish, and then got done weighing it, measuring it, fire out again, another fish. I mean, our past experience on this lake, we weren't used to catching them like that, and you could just tell the bite was on.
Yep. They were there, pulled up on that flat feeding.
One of the first key spots is right off coming off shore here is you have some giant rocks, and then it kind of stops, and then there's another patch with a big rock here, and you can see the shadow coming off it. I mean, that's like the size of the front deck of your boat sitting there. And then there's a gap here, and if you look at this, there's an old creek channel, and it comes right down here, makes a sharp corner. You can see the shadow. That's a really steep ledge here where this rock stuff drops into the channel, and then just weaves its way up here. And really, we always look at it as this end rock patch. There's some scattered rock, and then right here you have a giant rock, and it's hard to see on this one picture here, but there's a giant stump, old tree stuck right down in that corner.
It looks like a Christmas tree with ornaments hanging off of it with how many baits are on there.
Yeah.
Pretty sure there's an A-rig or two of mine in that tree.
Some crankbaits, jerk baits, jigs, tubes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, the spot stands out. I mean, you come out of this creek arm, it's the first cover and structure that the fish have. Right away, you were running net on the first two and trying to tie on your A-rig. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you had time to finish tying on that A-rig because, you know, after 7 fish.
Yeah, it's kind of something that I saw and learned. If you have a school of fish that are fired up, give them a big meal. And it's second cast with that A-rig.
Yeah.
And we hooked that fish.
What is it? 727. Oh my god. We gotta put in the live one. Yep. It's 719 and went to 727. And then it was in a bounce. Just got to stay right there small. Lyal. Epic, baby. Plus 7-1 is done, dude. We just got plus 7. Dude, we just did it. We just got. I netted it. We just caught the state. Did we just load and go home? We gotta load up and weigh it. Oh my god. Can we keep fishing? I'm gonna call it DNR number. That thing's not even long, but the belly was the biggest thing. His eyes were bulged out. You brought him right in the boat. He couldn't even move. What did it say? Did you save that on the scale? Yeah. But like I say, he was sitting at 719. Yeah. And right when I hit the lock. What's 27? How many ounces is that? Well, 6.5 is an ounce. That's 4 ounces. But I think it's 3. It was more. It was sitting at 19, and then you know when you touch it, it kind of. That's the most unreal fish I've ever. So it's legit 7.3 for sure. But this scale, it just fucking happened. It's so small. State record.
The rest is history.
One of my favorite parts about that is before you cast that, a boat's coming across the lake and drove right over the spot and then kept going further into the arm. And as they come off a plane and stop, you're casting set the hook and we do our thing. And I remember looking over them after we netted it, and they weren't looking. They had no idea that they just drove over the state record to fish.
Yeah.
And
they were literally like 100
it.
feet past my cast, basically going up that channel.
Mm-hmm. And every time I watch a video, you still see that boat sitting there.
I know. I wonder who they are. Just like to meet them.
Yeah.
So Casey does a wonderful net job. We get this fish in the boat, and it's fat as fat can be. I mean, 19 inches long, 19 inches around. It's basically a basketball.
It would have blown out if it had any more.
Yeah. I mean, it was so fat that its scales were not tucking itself. They were tucked out.
Distorted.
Just distorted. Our first thought, put it in the live well, gather our thoughts. I called my wife, freaking out.
I think it took us 15 minutes to get everything together.
Yep.
Where we could function.
Yep. And first thought is, I either have to kill this fish or release this fish somehow. And I would much rather release the fish. So there's a DNR officer that we've been going to South Dakota for quite a few springs before that. And I would normally call him to basically get an idea of how the ice is coming off so we can get down there as soon as possible to fish, because we're itching to fish. And I got a hold of him, and he kind of told me what the rules say, and I can't transport it in the boat, but he offered to borrow me a tub, and then we could go to the bait shop, fill it full of water, and then transport the fish, not in the boat, but in the tub, to the grocery store. He called another guy that was a biologist.
I believe it was a biologist at the fishery.
To verify and sign on the fish that it was a smallmouth. So he met us there. Or he met me there because Casey was still fishing.
Lyal left me for quite a while.
I did. I did.
Like, I was getting a little worried.
I had a hard time finding that DNR officer's house. But anyway, so Casey and my state record fish were still fishing, and I was in the process of getting a tub full of water. And when I got back, Casey was pretty excited. Because what did you do?
Well, I went out and got another big fish. Because I wasn't going to sit at the dock and just wait.
No.
So I had to go fish, and the fish were chomping.
Yeah.
And at that time, my personal best, I believe, was, I don't know if it was even 5 pounds.
Yeah, it was 5.
Or low 5.
Yeah.
And, man, I pulled into a narrows and put the talons down, and the wind was bucking, and I threw a little shallow crankbait out. And first or second cast, one hit it, and I loaded up, and you can see on the video my rod loads, and it felt solid. And it just went slack. It came off. Before I could even do anything, it loaded up again. I thought, okay, good. So I fight it, and I finally get it into the net, and the crankbait stuck to the side of him. And I can only imagine that first hit it with its mouth. Mm-hmm. When I set the hook, it turned, pulled out of the mouth, and snapped him in the side, and I got him. Well, it was a 645. I mean, can the day get any better?
Right.
So I basically cast a couple more times, catch one more nice 5-pound fish, and then it's time to head back to the dock. Loaded the boat on the trailer, had the big famous blue tub in the back of the pickup with a big load of water, and then put that big old smallmouth in there and gave him a ride. And it's about a 15-minute drive back to the grocery store where we weighed it. So, of course you're a little worried about the fish, but man, we V-lined it there, weighed it. So that guy doesn't need to be here to see it on the scale?
He's gonna, we're gonna print a receipt, and then print a receipt. She's lively.
She turned sideways and couldn't get back.
At least her head's underwater. That's about the best we can do.
hair suits. Oh my. Jeez, that's a monster.
Isn't that belly crazy?
She's full of us. Okay, it should print a ticket every week. There it goes. 724.
724. I'm like getting emotional. It's crazy. That's awesome, dude. So what it weigh, Lyle? 724. Bam, state record. It's insane. Got it notarized.
Got the slip, notarized it, headed back to the lake, let the fish go, and yep, you hear comments, oh, you're killing the fish, you killed the fish. No. Multiple people have caught that fish since we released it.
Yeah, and you know, you're on a lake and you just catch a state record. I mean, I could have easily just put it on my wall, and there's parts of me that still wish I would have, but I'm okay.
Yeah, and you have every right to have that thought because
because we've caught thousands and thousands and thousands of fish. I would have no problem putting one on my wall. I would. Yeah. And the other fact is, there's a special window in the spring where the fish just they've had a cap over their head all winter, and the water starts to warm up, and they put on the feed bag. We hit the feed bag,
and there's only a day or two to hit.
And there's only there's a very short window, and we just wasted half of our day to save this fish. Yeah. You can't tell me that that's not respectful.
Right.
Even if that fish, we went through all that and that fish still died, we did everything we could.
Right. Pure respect. Yeah. We did what we could do.
But the good thing is we know of at least 2 times where that fish has been caught since. Yeah. The first time it weighed 7 pounds, second time it weighed 6, I think.
Right. I think just a 10 or 6, but so it was kind of downhill, but like we hit it, we caught it at the perfect time. Mm-hmm. It was that feed bag. Of course it's going to lose a little bit of weight after that.
Yeah. And all the fish in that lake have lost weight.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have that freak size anymore.
Yeah. And to think how good those fish were biting that day. You know, we took the time to go do it the right way, keep that fish alive. Yeah. We left a bunch of big biting fish.
Yeah.
And
if we would have spent those 4 hours casting, I mean, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
But that's okay. This is basically the A-rig that I caught that state record on. 3 hooks, 2 dummy baits, 5 blades, and I was just basically slow rolling it on the bottom for about 8 to 10 feet of water when that fish hit it.
Now, when you do that, when you cast that, because at the time I hadn't even thrown one.
Right.
And you threw it the fall before, so you had a better idea.
Right.
When you cast it out, I mean, you let it sink down to the bottom.
Yep.
Crash into the bottom, or as soon as it
hits the bottom like a swim bait, just start slow rolling it, and it's okay if it's ticking the bottom. Usually you want it rolling on the bottom.
And what happens when a fish hits it?
You get one of 2 things: they rip the rod out of your hand, or you just feel nothing. Just you lost the bait
because it ran.
Because it's coming right at you.
Yeah. What did the record one do?
It was basically a freight train.
Yeah.
I would like to see that hook set again, actually.
So what do you have there in your hand?
This is a certificate that I got from South Dakota after putting in the application for a state record, and I had to give them proof of the notarization from that biologist, and then the slip from the grocery store with the meat tag weight on it.
So my question is, so you look at the certificate, and it says state record, 7 pounds 3 ounces, has your name on it, it's signed, it's official. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool to Google it and it pops up.
Yeah, you Google it, and it's right. It gets hammered.
Yeah.
So how cool is it to have a state record when you stop and think about, a lot of people, you can win a big tournament. You
Yeah.
can win a bunch of money in tournaments. You can catch a bunch of big fish. But there's a lot of people that don't have a state record with their name attached to it.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
I
mean-
appreciate it. It is really cool. It's changed a lot of things for me and us, and
Right.
it's pretty cool just getting that recognition.
And I just want you to know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've busted my butt since that day.
To
Trying to up it.
Try to beat it. Yeah, I know.
And not just to beat you,
Yeah.
but just to beat it so other people have to beat that number.
Yep.
Because I want that record to stay with Bass Brawl,
Right.
with us,
Right.
because we put the time in and all the miles and the hours and,
Yeah.
learning that stuff.
It's pretty special.
It is. Right.
That's why if it does get beat, it's okay. I mean,
Records are meant to be broke.
Yeah, when we got to experience it,
Yeah.
and that experience can never get replaced.
And you got to hold it for coming up 4 years.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's a long time. I mean,
yeah,
it,
yeah. I honestly didn't think it would hold that long.
right.
I really, especially seeing the crowds
Yeah.
come out there, you fishing it all the time.
Gotten close a couple times.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. 613s are big mamas.
Yes. I've been
Big-
fortunate
big-
enough to hook two
big
613s. They're close, but close doesn't count. So, yes.
How many 6 pound plus fish have we caught in that lake?
For the one season, we had, I believe, 13 that were over 6.
Was that 2016 or 2017? I think it was 16.
16, the
wasn't it?
year we
16
got
was
the
the year.
record.
16
Yeah,
was
yep.
the year
Yes.
that it was nuts.
And it wasn't like you just went there and caught 6-pounders. I mean,
Right.
we worked for those 6-pounders.
Yeah.
And there was windows too. It
Yeah.
was spring and late fall.
Yeah.
During the middle of the summer, I barely caught one that was 6.
Who do we see on the front here? Both
I don't know,
pages.
KVD's on both pages.
Yeah, that's weird.
God, I grew up reading this stuff,
Oh, I know.
dreaming about being in there one day.
Oh, just like
And then all of a sudden, you look inside here,
yep.
and you are on both of these.
Yep. Bass Times and Bassmaster. That was pretty cool.
South Dakota Smallie record. New state record smallmouth for South Dakota.
That was pretty special. I need to
Pretty special.
I need to frame these.
That doesn't happen every day.
No.
And nobody can ever take it away. Somebody might
there
be able to
was-
beat it.
There was a lot of it. There was a lot of phone calls. There was a lot of emails, and just I think having friends in the industry already and stuff like that. Word just spread really fast. It was a cool story. It was a cool story.
Yeah, I mean, we taped it from
Yeah.
the start of the day until
Yeah.
it was.
And nobody releases state records
Yeah.
like that. I mean, people have, but
Yeah.
to have it all documented like that is pretty cool. I think it really shows what bass fishermen are about. I mean, and not just bass fishermen, musky fishermen, pan fishermen. There's trophy fishermen and all of our aspects that respect the fish.
Right. You have ones that respect the resource,
Yeah.
and of
And
course you have ones that don't.
We eat fish. I love eating fish, but it's
Know
It's a
which
s-
ones to keep.
yeah, and it's a sport that I want to stick around for my kids and my kids' kids, and
Well, you did your part, man.
yep,
That fish got released. It lived. We know it's spawned for 2 more seasons
Yeah,
after we
for
let
sure.
it go.
Yep.
So,
yep.
yes.
Yeah, I think one of the best feelings about this whole thing was physically seeing that fish swim back.
And he had a little trouble right away.
He had a little trouble. I let him go off the dock, and he went right for shore.
And he tried to climb the rocks.
Yeah. Then we got him turned around, or her turned around, and she went into the depths.
Yeah. And you always have that feeling like we saw it swim away, but did it really make it?
Right.
And it felt really, really good when we had somebody that we actually knew catch that fish again the
Yep.
next year.
Yep.
And no, I remember just being like, yes, like
Pretty
you know,
cool. It's pretty
like
cool.
we knew that thing lived and
Yep.
all
That thing
work
went
was
on a
worth it.
journey.
I want your hair.
You do? You're fine. You just want some hair.
Have you ever watched have you ever watched any of our video with your hair in it?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty awesome.
I see my hair every day.
Like I'm not sure if Lion King theme song should be going.
I watched The Lion King tonight.
Sponsorship for hair product, man.
Right?